Hi YouTube. Today I'm talking about how civilization is becoming less verbal and more visual. This follows on from my previous videos about visual thinking. Right. The first way life is becoming easier for visual thinkers is you don't need to write anymore. You can just type. In the past, intelligent people with dreadful handwriting might have missed out on jobs. Right, if they handed in a CV, employers might judge the handwriting terribly, but now everything's typed. And I myself did an article recently on how YouTube has become much more accessible for the deaf now that closed captions are becoming an option. Once again, that's visual. So you could watch a YouTube video with no sounds and you wouldn't miss a thing. Third thing, typing. You don't need to do it anymore. We have voice-operated keyboards now. So that goes for phones and for PCs. Eventually you won't even need a keyboard. And this will be wonderful for dyslexic people, as will text-to-speech for those who can't read. Now you can just highlight a passage in a book, or an e-book at least, and the voice will tell you what it is. Once again, just like dysgraphia, bad handwriting is no longer a disability. Thanks to technology, dyslexia doesn't need to be a disability. And for those who can type but can't talk, text-to-speech is also very useful. Now, consider something a bit more subtle. Consider these MP3 players. Almost everyone's got one now, at least in the cities. On trains, you often have announcements spoken over the microphones. Bloody irritating, utter nightmare. Horrid monotone voice. And that was designed for an era when we weren't all listening to music. So what they do on buses, for instance, if a bus route is coming to an end, they flash the lights instead of announcing it, and that's visual. Just like a deaf person doesn't have a doorbell, they have a button which makes their lights flash. It's the same thing. And people will be using gestures, visual cues, a lot more when they're asking something and they've got music in there. There's no point calling out to them. That's happened to me 100 times. People just don't seem to be able to get, if you've got something in your ears, you can't hear them. So more and more people are doing gestures. Ones my parents like to do, quieter. That's their favourite one. And of course, sign language is becoming more ubiquitous. There's that nauseating something special series on the BBC, and they are I call it nauseating. It's very useful for people with learning difficulties. Makaton is becoming more common in ordinary infant schools, so hopefully that will become more common, especially in noisy places like discos, factories, or busy cities. You know, you often can't hear a word people are saying. Much easier to sign. Much easier. Talked about typing being replaced by voice-operated keyboards, but there is another, and that's 2D barcodes. They're these wonderful things invented in Japan. Very common in the Far East. They're slowly spreading here. If you have a smartphone, you can take a photo of a 2D barcode and you find that it's actually a code for a website. So instead of having to type in www.url.com/forward whatever, you can just take a photo, it'll scan it and take you there. Once again, a visual tool rather than a verbal one. Watch this spot. I don't think keyboards will exist soon. And consider text-to-speech, things like lol and writing to instead of to, or for instead of for. Shortcuts like that. Once again, they appeal to the visual side of our brains, and most of all, emoticons. colon dash bracket equals a smiley face, colon dash other bracket equals a sad face, and so on. Semicolon dash bracket equals a wink. These are to make up for the lack of emotion in you can't hear voice tones or see facial expressions. Although having said that, video Skype and other video conferencing will certainly become more common, and this will alleviate the fears of Oliver Sacks in his book about deaf culture called Seeing Voices, I believe. He was worried that email would stop deaf people from bothering with sign language when they can just email each other to socialise. But video chat, that's perfect for sign language. So I don't think he needs fear. I doubt whether he's watching this. If he ever did, it would be Christmas gone early for me. So, emoticons. They're visual. They're not verbal. They were invented spontaneously, and they are the way of the future. I honestly believe now that voice-operated keyboards are common, there is no need for an alphabet. Words can be replaced with small pictures, as we already do with numbers. But why can't colours be represented? Well, if the computer can detect our voice and change that into a little image, then you won't need a keyboard with a million different pictures for every word in human language. Automatic detection. And this would save space on the screen, and the human brain is better at processing pictures than words in the majority of cases. And finally, one language is dying out every fortnight. So, hopefully, in 100 years there'll only be one language, so we won't have to waste 3 lessons a week learning French when we could be learning something else. Cheers. I'll talk to you later, YouTube. Bye bye.